Internet, Eric here. Well, being that it's Black Friday and everyone's probably out there trampling each other to save $20 on a toaster, I played it smart and safe and decided not to participate in Black Friday, but to participate in Fright Friday. If you don't know what Fright Friday is, the Horror Freak 85 on his channel, he has a randomizer on his phone, and what he does is every week he hits the button, it spits out a category, and you, if you want to participate, um, find a horror movie that fits into said category and discuss it online. This week I'm super excited for. It's the King of Horror, and basically is pick a Stephen King horror movie to discuss. And I was so excited because I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and I've discussed many films on this channel, and I'm always willing to discuss another one. And I didn't want to discuss one that I had seen a million times. That's why I didn't pick Creepshow. But I did recently pick up Sleepwalkers. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot spoilers, specific scenes, all that jazz. I hadn't seen Sleepwalkers probably 10, 15 years. I didn't remember that much of it. I mean, the last time I saw it was on my VHS tape in the closet somewhere. And man, here we go. Uh, Basic plot of this is we're following two sleepwalkers, which are these nomadic cat-like humanoid creatures, I guess, and they feed on the life force of virgins, and they we're following the last two survivors, Charles and his mother, and they moved into this sleepy town, and of course Charles has picked Tanya as his next victim to steal life force from for him and his mother. Um, all the while, basically Tanya finds out what's going on, and the rest of the movie is her trying to escape while the cops of this sleepy town try to destroy the sleepwalkers, and they don't know, but the only way you can defeat a sleepwalker, the only weakness a sleepwalker has, is the scratch or the bite from a cat. Now this one was not directed. This one was directed by Mick Garris. I'm a huge Mick Garris fan. Critters 2. This is one of I think 6 or 7 Stephen King movies he's done, and this one was written not directly, but specifically for the screen. There is no short story or book that this is based on. Let's get to this. First off, Brian Krause as Charles. Initially, I like him. We'll get to the second half of Charles's Brian Krause as Charles's performance. In the beginning, he's perfect. He is this Ted Bundy type character to me. He's got to win he's got charm over these girls so he can suck their life force out of them. And good looking guy, has a way with words, has a charisma. I was getting Ted Bundy from this guy, and he's really, really good. He charms his way into Tanya's life. He charms his way, with Tanya's mom, this and that. Really good performance for like the first half of the movie. And when I get to my dislikes, I will be talking about Charles a lot. But he's got a really good chemistry with the girl who plays Tanya, and I'm going to butcher her name, Madchen Amick. She's now one of the mothers on Riverdale. I think she's Betty's mom. Yeah. No. Who's a blonde? Yeah, Betty's mom on Riverdale. Anyway, she was in Twin Peaks as well. She was Laura Palmer, I think. Anyways, she's super, super fun when we first meet her. I mean, and Mick Garris, perfect way to introduce this character because you want her to be sympathetic, especially with all the shit she's going through with Charles. Is she's a high school senior, I'm assuming, and she's working this low end job at a movie theater. And when we meet her, she's listening to her headphones, and she's got this wonderful, fun dance sequence to "Do You Love Me?" as she's moving like they're not really vacuums, but the thing you put the carpet sweepers or whatever. She's pushing that. It's really fun, bubbly, and she's so fucking cute during this. And then that's how she is for the rest of the film, pre Charles attack. Like she's bubbly, she's cute, she's fun. You believe her when Charles does his Ted Bundy thing. Like a lot of times when she's falling, she does his she bites her lip type of thing. She's a cute girl next door. And then when she's post attack, she's very sympathetic. There's a scene where she's crying in the tub, after she just almost was sexually assaulted by Charles. And it's a really good scene with her dad on the other end of the door. He's just knocking on the door and checking in on her, and she's crying to herself, but then she toughens up and says, "I'm okay, Dad. I'll be down for dinner in a little bit." But she's also very sympathetic because instead of saying Dad, she says Daddy. Because she's that vulnerable. And the actor who plays her dad, he was the dad of Ferris Bueller. He's really good. Very subtle performance. I love you too, honey. He's the dad, like, my daughter's been attacked type of thing. He feels helpless. So that's another good performance. But the performance of this movie belongs to Alice Krige, who plays Charles' mom. Um, she is kind of like she won't leave the house because the bites of the cats kill them. So, and the cats know that they're there. So there's like this thing where they have bear traps all over their front lawn, and cats are always trying to get in the house. So she won't leave the house. So in the beginning, she is this sheltered person, and then there's a weird love angle with her and Charles. I guess they're incestual as well because Stephen King um, likes to do weird shit. But you buy, as weird as it says, you buy her love for Charles, and for a little bit his for her. But she's definitely the mother and the lover, and you buy it all. And then eventually Charles is deathly injured. She's forced to leave the house, and she does. I mean, a full badass like 180. She becomes scary. She becomes violent. She becomes vicious. She does do some cheesy one-liners, but she is one woman you don't want to fuck with when she's snapping necks and impaling people, and it's just so good. Love her performance. That's about it for the main character. I think like Glenn Shattuck shows up. He was Otho in Beetlejuice, and he knows that who Charles. He doesn't know what Charles is, but he knows Charles is lying. He wasn't from where he said he was from, and it's a really awkward scene. Like, he pulls Charles' car over, and he's going to blackmail him, but instead of blackmailing him for money, he grabs he grabs Charles's crotch, and he said there's more ways to pay. So more sexual assault, and now we have. It's just weird, but he's really good for as little as he's in it. Good performance. I liked him a lot. Ron Perlman shows up, gets his fingers bit off. Good. I don't like him as a person, so that's always good to see. And there's some cool cameos. Stephen King shows up after Tanya is assaulted. Like, her and Charles go to a graveyard to have a picnic because Tanya's mom does like gravestone rubbings, and Charles worms his way in and says, "Oh, he does it all the time." So he takes her there and he tries to assault her and suck out the life force. He briefly gets a little bit of it. As she runs away, there's this afterward scene with all the paramedics and the cops and this and that, and Stephen King shows up as the I guess the groundskeeper of the cemetery. He's fun to see, and as he's talking to some of the cop stuff, Toby Hooper's there and Clive Barker's there as some guys, and then later on we see Joe Dante and John Landis. So those are kind of cool cameos. And in the very beginning, we have this cameo uncredited by Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's the sheriff, and they're investigating the previous house where Charles and Mom lived. And it's really creepy, like just the vibe of how this movie starts off with this scene. You have cats gutted, hanging from nooses, hanging outside on the trees. They go inside and then they find like the skeletal body of this victim. And you find out the victim's Mark Hamill calls her a little girl, but it's obviously a teenager. So this is what they're going from town to town because they're the last of their kind type of thing. The gore, hit and miss. There's a scene where it's hit and miss. Okay, the good gore is there's some good impalings. Dude gets impaled with a corn on the cob. Sounds stupid, looks cool. In the scene where Charles has already attacked Tanya, and Tanya meets the black cop, the only black cop on the force, who's got this pet cat named Clovis. He gets stabbed in the ear. and it's an okay effect, but then the cop falls and his head lands on the little, I think it's a pencil. He lands on the pencil and it's like boom, and it gets shoved back in his head. It's like the whole the scene where the Joker makes the pencil disappear in Dark Knight. It's effective. Um, we get a lot of good bullet wounds. God, but then there's some not so good gore. What I mean by that is the scene where Otho, I'll call him, grabs Charles by the crotch and Charles rips his arm off, and it's a good blood effect shooting on the windshield, and then but then it's the whole he holds up like a bloody stump in front of him, but the problem is you can tell the angle, you can tell it's not really his hand. It looks more like this, like so fake. So there's that. The same scene where Ron Perlman gets his fingers bit off. It's a cool, kind of a cool effect. Seeing Alice Krige rip the fingers off and wipe her mouth, the blood off her mouth. So cool in that scene. And you just see him holding up the bloody stumps, and it just looks fake. Um, and then of course Mick Garris, he does this. Ron Perlman's a weird looking fucker to begin with, but he got this close up on him screaming, and just it's bad. So there's overall good gore, but there's some bad effects. And speaking of bad effects, there's a morphing effect where you see Charles morph from Charles into the Sleepwalker as he's chasing down. And it's a really fun car chase scene. Why couldn't I think of that? Where the cop is chasing him down, and of course they're scared by cats. Clovis scares him, so it causes his face to morph into the Sleepwalker, and it looks really bad. I didn't like it at all. I mean, they did it better on Michael Jackson's Black or White video. This was, I don't know if it was new for the time, but it has not held up well. There's a couple other effects that are not very good, but overall, I'm not holding that too much against them. Let's get to the part where I was talking about Brian Krause. He goes from Ted Bundy in the very beginning of this film, because there's a tonal shift in this movie. You know, it starts off really creepy, and by the end of it, it's just a fucking slasher movie, which is fine because Alice Krige, I'll keep talking about her scene, is so badass. But Brian Krause's character Charles goes from Ted Bundy to like Freddy's dead Freddy Krueger. Such a fucking joke, and I don't like it because I liked him as the creepy, hey, come into my van, I got something for you, not pedophile, but hey, can you help me move this into my van, Ted Bundy type of thing. But then once he tries to assault Tanya, he's nothing but puns. And as good as the makeup effect looks on him, you can't really see here, but you can Google it. I think I'm actually gonna, for the thumbnail, I'll have a picture of his face. He just becomes like a dork. Like he gets stabbed in the eye with a corkscrew, and it's a good blood effect coming through his fingers, holding it, and then he looks at his shirt, he's like, oh no, my shirt, my mom's gonna kill me. No, like when he stabs the black cop, he yells, cop kebab. No, it's just out of nowhere, and it doesn't fit, and it's actually quite annoying, because he's hamming it up, way super campy, and I just don't like it. There's another really bad effect after this really fucking cool sequence where Mother, she's now got her cat face on, and the cats are actually in the house, and they're jumping at her. She's grabbing the cats, literally. She grabs a cat, she snaps its neck, and she fucking throws it across the roof, or across the room. She's got a cat on her shoulder trying to bite her. And a cop shoots her in the stomach with a shotgun, blows a hole in her stomach. She's standing there like Goldie Hawn in Death Becomes Her, but the cat on the other end flies through the fucking, air. Great effect. I love, there's a scene, Mick Garris just has this really creepy scene of all the cats in the neighborhood going downtown in this like little like school of fish or whatever, going to the Sleepwalker's house to prepare to kill them. But back to this last effect, which is really bad. After Mom has turned into full Sleepwalker, which to me kind of, I didn't hate the look, but it looked more kind of like one of the Tommyknockers from that Stephen King adaptation. They're attacking her, and then like it looks even better when they're attacking Charles. Like their scratches and their bites. No, don't just like damage them. Like flames shoot out of them. So that's a cool effect. Except when it bites Charles, they speed up the speed a little bit, so it doesn't look like it doesn't look natural, I guess. But here she's being attacked and she is engulfed in flames. It's a really cool burn effect, and suddenly she drops on the hood of the car that Tanya's in, and it's this really bad flame effect. And she's trying to be sympathetic. She says, "You killed my son, my only son," and then she dies. But it just looks fucking bad, and it's kind of laughable. But after all that, Sleepwalkers, it's not that bad. Um, it's not great. It's not horrible. It's not my favorite Mick Garris film. That's probably Critters 2, and I think I might even put Psycho 4 above this one. But it is my favorite Stephen King film that he's done. I like it more than, at least that I've seen. I like it more than his version of The Shining. I like it more than, what else has he done? The Stand. I like this more than The Stand. He's done a few more. I haven't seen Riding the Bullet, and he's got a couple more. I don't know if he did Rose Red or not. I'm not sure. He might have. But it is my favorite Mick Garris Stephen King collaboration. Um, the first half is so good, or like we'll say 3 acts. First act is so good. Second act, when Charles becomes a Looney Tune, is kind of stupid. But Mama brings it back. The mother sleepwalker brings it back in the third act, killing everyone and being badass. So I do recommend Sleepwalkers. Really a lot of fun. And again, Ron Perlman gets it, so that's always a bonus. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, all that stuff. Click the bell, comment below. Check out the Horror Freak 85's channel. Participate in Fright Friday. It's actually a lot of fun. Yeah, that's it. I will just say cheers and cop kebab. I don't know. I'm going to probably stop ending these with quotes because I just can't think of a good one. Cop kebab. See what I mean? Later.